It starts like any other quiet Texas morning until the screech of tires on gravel rips through the silence. Black SUVs swarm a peaceful farmhouse. Inside, 16-year-old Lucy Matthews has just 47 seconds left before the Cartel makes the worst mistake of their violent history. They think they're pulling off a simple kidnapping, an easy score involving an old man and his granddaughter. What they don't know is that the man behind that screen door once ran some of the CIA's most ruthless black ops across 3 continents. What they really don't know? Daniel Matthews didn't retire because he was tired. He retired because even death needed a break. What's about to happen will tear through the heart of one of the most powerful cartels in North America. As Lucy's life hangs in the balance, her grandfather quietly reactivates a web of covert operatives who owe him blood debts from missions never documented and never forgiven. This isn't just about saving a life. It's about unleashing a force the underworld thought long gone. And when you threaten a wolf's family, you better pray those old fangs still have mercy. Drop a comment and tell us where you're watching from. And if you're into true stories with a twist of fire, hit that subscribe button, because tomorrow's episode, it's a beast. Scene 2, the calm before the storm. Morning light paints Willow Creek in warm gold as Daniel Matthews sips coffee on his porch. At 72, he moves like a man who never forgot how to kill quietly. His eyes sweep the land, an instinct that saved him more times than he'll ever admit. Lucy joins him, stealing a sip from his mug. "You're up early, Grandpa." His expression softens. "Old habits, kiddo." Inside, while Lucy grabs breakfast, Daniel scans headlines on his tablet. A small note about cartel movement catches his eye. 200 miles south. Not close, but not far enough. "Quiz today?" he asks without looking up. "Cold War history," Lucy says. "Want to help me study?" Daniel smirks. "Wouldn't be fair. Some of us lived it." A pickup passes slowly down the road. Third unfamiliar vehicle this week. Something's off. "Better head out," he tells her. "Don't want to be late." After she leaves, Daniel enters his study and checks a hidden camera feed. That same pickup is circling town again. Meanwhile, at Willow Creek High, Lucy's day starts off normal. Quiz, lunch under the old oak tree, until a black SUV rolls by. Tinted windows. Too dark. Too quiet. Back at the farm, Daniel's fixing fences when a flash of light catches his eye. Someone's watching. From the tree line. They're good, but not that good. He keeps working, memorizing the position. At 3:30, Lucy's back from school, talking about her quiz. That's when Sheriff Steve Parker pulls up. "Lucy, go inside," Daniel says. She knows that tone. No arguments. Parker steps out, sweating bullets. "We need to talk." Inside the barn, out of sight, the truth unravels. "The cartel's moving in," Parker confesses. "Buying land, setting up shop." "And?" Daniel asks. "They've been asking about your farm." Daniel's voice turns cold. "How long have they been paying you, Steve?" Parker stutters. "They'll kill my family, then start making better choices." That night, Daniel makes calls on encrypted lines. Codes no one's heard since the Cold War. In a locked room, a radio crackles. "Been a long time, old friend." "Too long," Daniel replies. "Remember Belgrade? Time to collect." Later, under moonlight, Daniel finds cigarette butts by the fence. Fresh. Bold. Whoever's watching isn't even hiding anymore. In his study, a hidden floor panel creaks open. Inside, a sat phone, passports, weapons, tools from a life he buried long ago, because tomorrow Lucy's class goes on a field trip, and someone's planning to make sure she never comes back. The bus to San Antonio pulls away as the sun rises over Willow Creek. Daniel watches it disappear, eyes locked on 2 unfamiliar vehicles buried in the flow of parent traffic. One black sedan, freshly washed. One work van, both out-of-state plates. "Text me when you get there," he calls. Lucy waves from the window. "I know, Grandpa, just like always." A woman in medical scrubs approaches as he turns to go. Dr. Rachel Bennett, the town clinic's newest hire, but the calluses on her hands don't belong to a doctor. Quite the escort she's got, she mutters, pretending to check her phone. You saw them too, Daniel says. 2 behind, 1 in front. Professional drivers, not even subtle. Walk with me, Daniel says, starting the truck. She nods. That phrase wasn't small talk. It was an old code from their operations overseas. It meant Plan B is live. Later at the clinic, they speak in careful code between patient checkups. William called, she says casually. His hunting group's visiting next week. Daniel nods. That's William Bear Thompson, one of the best from their old CIA team. About time we had a proper reunion, he replies. Rachel lowers her voice. They're locking down 3 locations. Bought the Miller place last week. Took the ranch off Highway 23, closing on a building 2 blocks from Lucy's school. Daniel's expression doesn't change, but his hands curl tighter. The cartel wasn't circling anymore. They were digging in. At the Alamo, Lucy tours with her class. Her phone buzzes. Your grandfather's land, very valuable. Buyers interested. No name, no number. She deletes it. Mrs. Garcia, her history teacher, spots the look on her face. Everything all right? Just spam, Lucy lies. But Garcia's eyes shift to the man in the tourist shirt snapping photos, not of the monument, but of the kids. Her instincts, sharpened by years of teaching in cartel-controlled towns in Mexico, scream at her, something's wrong. Back in Willow Creek, Sheriff Parker meets a sharply dressed man in a deserted diner. Adrian Santos doesn't need to raise his voice. Power clings to every word. The old man, Santos says. What's his routine? Ex-military. Keeps to himself, Parker replies weakly. Santos slides over a file. Military records show nothing. But my men say he moves like something else. He's just a farmer, Parker insists, but even he doesn't believe it. Santos leans in. For your sake, Sheriff, I hope you're right. Back on the farm, Daniel reads Lucy's message about being followed. He keeps his reply calm, hiding the urgency boiling underneath. In his basement, he flips on a Cold War-era radio. Ghost to Whiskey Base, testing channels. Static, then... Read you, Ghost. Bear here, teams inbound. ETA, 3 days. Don't have 3. Intel says 48 hours max. Xantos likes to play with his food. Thermal cameras pick up 4 new heat signatures in the trees. Spread out, professional spacing. Rachel arrives carrying a medical bag packed not with supplies, but encrypted comms gear. We've got a safe house 15 miles south, she says. Heavy movement, enough firepower for a war. At the school, Mrs. Garcia stays late grading papers, watching 2 black SUVs loop around the block. She texts Daniel. New student enrollments tomorrow, same pattern we saw in Juarez. Night falls. Lucy does homework. Daniel cooks dinner, his movements slow and intentional, hiding the tension building in his chest. On camera, Sheriff Parker's car passes the house, for the 3rd time tonight. Going to San Antonio again next week, Lucy mentions. Career fair. Daniel lowers his fork. Maybe we visit your aunt in Montana instead. Lucy raises an eyebrow. Since when do I have an aunt in Montana? Daniel forces a smile. Just thinking out loud. Later, he checks the back gate. Fresh tire tracks, clean tread. They're mapping escape routes. Coyotes howl in the distance, but the rhythm is wrong. Artificial. A signal. At midnight, Rachel's burner buzzes. Medical supplies arriving early. 3 crates, heavy. Daniel replies, best kind of medical tools, like Belgrade. He remembers Belgrade, and why the CIA gave him the call sign Ghost. Tomorrow, Lucy has soccer practice. The field backs up against dense woods, too exposed. Daniel reviews satellite images in his study. The cartel's men are skilled, but they're following military doctrine. Predictable. He'll use that. Lucy sends one last message. Good night, Grandpa. Love you. Daniel stares at it, sees her mother's face, remembers how she never saw the danger coming. This time will be different. In the woods, figures whisper into radios. Inside the house, behind locked walls, a ghost prepares for war, and the clock is ticking. If you're enjoying this story, make sure to subscribe and tap the bell icon, because the next chapter, it's going to hit hard. Let me know if you want the next part edited the same way. A dusty pickup truck rolls to a stop near the soccer field. William Bear Thompson steps out, blending in like any other retired rancher. But Daniel sees it. The slight limp. Zagreb, 1992, the moment Bear saved his life. Quite the audience today, Bear mutters, settling beside him on the bleachers. Didn't expect you so soon, Daniel replies. Place feels off. Like Bogota before it all went sideways. Out on the field, Lucy scores a goal. Cheers erupt. But Bear watches the shadows instead. They're not here for soccer, he says. Nope, Daniel nods. They're testing patterns, response time, surveillance windows. Practice ends. Parents flood the area. Chaos, perfect for cover. As Lucy walks toward them, two men step into her path. Nice shot, one says. Your grandpa teach you that? Before she can answer, Daniel appears at her side. His posture is relaxed, but Bear sees it, the stance of a predator ready to strike. Time to go, kiddo, Daniel says. The men step aside, smiling, but the kind of smile you don't want to see up close. Rachel's car pulls up. Need a ride, Lucy? She says. Your grandpa and I have that medical foundation work today. Code for extraction. Lucy doesn't catch the layers, but she nods, climbs in. She's safe. 20 minutes later, two black SUVs trail Daniel's truck down winding country roads. Bear checks a tactical map on his phone. George Sullivan's team already set up. Just like old times, he grins. Getting too old for old times, Daniel replies. They turn onto a narrow dirt road, trees on both sides. Ambush country. Perfect. Daniel slams the brakes. The truck slides sideways, blocking the road. Both men roll out. The SUVs skid to a stop. Four men exit, hands loose, but weapons ready. Military stances. Clean moves. Problem? One calls out. Roads washed out, Daniel says, playing the harmless farmer. At 7 paces, the leader twitches toward his jacket. 3 seconds later, it's over. Daniel's weighted cane shatters a kneecap. Bear's elbow silences another man with a crushed windpipe. A boot, a twist, a wrist broken mid-draw. The fourth man almost gets a shot off, until Bear's throw folds him to the ground. They leave them alive. Professional courtesy, Bear shrugs. They'll report what we are. Good, Daniel replies. Let them. At the clinic, Lucy helps Rachel organize supplies, unaware that the basement holds more than meds. Behind false panels, guns, comms gear, extraction kits, everything ready. Your grandpa's quite the gardener, Rachel jokes. He always knows what's growing where, says it's about control, Lucy replies. Or exits, terrain, habit, Rachel says quietly. Across town, Adrian Santos gets the report. Top floor office. View of the school. View of the Matthews farm. The farmer has teeth, he tells his wife, Carmen. Should we relocate? No, this place is ideal. He studies photos. Daniel, the school, Lucy. I want to know what he's hiding. Sheriff Parker enters, pale. They took down 4 of your best. They showed us their value, Santos replies. Now we give them our full attention. Back at the farm, Daniel and Bear review thermal scans. 8-man teams rotating every 6 hours, George says over encrypted radio. They're mapping the entire property. Daniel's phone buzzes. Sofia Garcia. 2 more Cartel families just enrolled their kids. Deep cover. They're embedding. In the basement, Bear checks their gear. Feels like Monaco, he says. Monaco was chaos, Daniel mutters. But it worked. Monaco got 6 good people killed. Upstairs, Lucy walks in, followed by Rachel, her clipboard stacked with paperwork that's actually satellite imagery. Everything okay? Lucy asks. Just boring adult stuff, Daniel says, hiding the tension in his shoulders. That night, the barn becomes a war room. Daniel, Rachel, Bear, George, maps, grids, timetables, old instincts rise. The rhythm returns. Planning, preparation, precision. Multiple entry points, Bear says. No, Daniel corrects. Santos is theatrical. He'll want a statement. Rachel's eyes widen. The school. Where everyone will see, Daniel adds. where it sends a message. George reconfigures surveillance. I can have eyes on every approach. Won't matter if they've bought half the town's police, Rachel warns. Medical teams are staged at 3 fallback points, she adds, checking her watch. Dawn creeps in. Daniel watches Lucy's bedroom light flicker off. In the distance, coyotes howl again, code from the watchers hidden in the trees. They never sleep. Bear joins Daniel on the porch. You could still send her away. She's all I've got left. That's exactly why they'll use her. Daniel's jaw tightens. Let them try. In town, Santos reviews surveillance from earlier. The school, the soccer field, Lucy. Tomorrow, he says. The career fair. His men nod, eager. They don't realize they're not hunting prey. They're waking a ghost. Morning arrives. Trucks labeled for career fair roll into Willow Creek High, carrying far more than banners and brochures. George's surveillance locks onto Carmen Santos, directing the setup crew. Her phone never leaves her ear, because her real call routes through DEA channels. They're moving tomorrow, she says. Career fair's the cover. Extraction team ready? No. Something's wrong. My husband's bringing too many men for a land grab. Back at the house, Daniel loads Lucy's backpack as she showers, tucked between notebooks, a burner phone, a plain pen. But inside, an emergency beacon. He calls up the stairs. Remember what I taught you about awareness? Lucy replies, check the exits, watch the crowd, trust my instincts. Daniel nods. This time we're ready. Grandpa, it's just a career fair, Lucy laughs, bouncing down the stairs, her energy infectious. Daniel forces a smile, but his eyes betray him. He's seen this spark before. His daughter had it too, before the day he couldn't save her. Bear's dusty truck pulls in. 7 new vehicles in town, he says quietly, handing Daniel a thermal snapshot. Military precision in their movement patterns. They're not hiding anymore. Lucy grabs her breakfast. Mrs. Garcia said there's even an FBI recruiter coming. Daniel and Bear lock eyes. No such recruiter was scheduled. Across town, Sofia Garcia arrives early. Her classroom door, slightly ajar. Inside, everything is in perfect order. Too perfect. Her family photo from Mexico has been moved. A silent threat. She texts Daniel. They've been inside the school. Meanwhile, at Rachel's clinic, a shipment arrives. Wrong boxes, wrong codes. She knows this packaging from her CIA days. Cartel supplies, emergency triage gear. They're not hoping for casualties. They're expecting them. Outside Willow Creek High, Sheriff Parker directs traffic, hands trembling. Daniel's truck rolls up. Big day for security, Daniel says. Just being cautious, Parker deflects. Like in Paro? Daniel asks. When you look the other way? Parker pales. They have my daughter. I understand, Daniel replies flatly. Choices. And consequences. Inside, Lucy chats with friends. Nearby, new students linger, too old, too alert. George Sullivan's voice crackles in Daniel's earpiece. Counting 12 confirmed hostiles inside. More incoming. Bear positions himself near emergency exits, playing the part of a visiting parent. Rachel sets up her first aid station, her medical bag loaded with more than bandages. At the top floor of a nearby building, Adrian Santos reviews the plan. Carmen, secretly relaying updates through DEA channels, whispers, everything ready. In the gym, Lucy texts Daniel, something feels off. Like you taught me. Daniel, trust your instincts. Sofia Garcia watches from the edge of the gym. The new students are positioning themselves tactically. Corner coverage, door sightlines, spacing like a military unit. They're hinging them, she texts Daniel. Outside, George's surveillance detects encrypted chatter. Frequency hopping, professional. Rachel scans the fair, recognizing cartel trauma medics posing as vendors. They've brought combat medics, she whispers. They're not bluffing. Daniel makes one final perimeter check. Cameras show armed men dressed as janitors, others disguised as parents, all watching Lucy. Bear's voice in his ear. Just like Sato. Daniel's jaw clenches. Sato was a massacre. Not for our side. Inside, the gym buzzes with activity. Booths line the walls, laughter and career flyers. An agent in an FBI windbreaker walks toward Lucy. his smile empty, eyes scanning. "Interested in law enforcement?" he asks. Before Lucy can answer, Sophia appears. "Lucy, your grandfather's looking for you." The agent's hand twitches toward his jacket. Outside, Sheriff Parker's radio hisses. "Start the music." It's code. They're moving. George confirms. Cartel vehicles now blocking nearby streets. No escape routes. Full lockdown. Rachel edges her supplies closer to exit routes. Triage stations prepped. Bear confirms weapons are stashed throughout the school. Just in case. Santos zips his jacket. "Remember, we want the girl alive. The old man will come to us." Carmen sends her final encrypted message. "Moving now. Hostage situation imminent." Lucy sits in the gym, senses on edge. She remembers her training. Something's coming. She can feel it. Daniel receives the final green light from George. All teams in position. Movement expected during main presentation. The fake FBI agent walks to the podium. The students gather, surrounded. Sophia texts, "It's starting." Daniel checks his watch. His heart pounds. Not again. Not like before. Not like his daughter. Bear whispers, "Ghost. We're ready." Daniel exhales, straightens his jacket. The old weight of concealed weapons returns like a memory in his muscles. The ghost wakes. Thunder rolls across the horizon. The agent taps the mic. Slides flash on the screen, career paths that no one will live to follow. Lucy shifts in her seat, every instinct screaming, "Run!" Sophia tightens her grip on her phone, thumb over the emergency delete key. Then, a flashbang explodes through the gym's upper windows. Time fractures. Smoke floods the room. Students throw off jackets, automatic weapons drawn. Fare booths crash. Screams erupt. The air is chaos, choke, panic, control. The fake agent's voice slips. Spanish accent now unmistakable. "Todos al suelo! Everybody down!" Daniel's voice cuts into Lucy's earpiece. "Count to 3. Then run." 1. Rachel's first aid station becomes a wall of cover. She knocks supplies everywhere, blocking sightlines, creating confusion. 2. Bear activates scramblers, wiping cartel radios. Silence across their comms, terror in their eyes. They weren't expecting resistance. 3. Lucy runs. Lucy moves just like she was trained. As she sprints toward the pre-planned exit routes, 2 cartel operatives lunge. The first grabs, only to be locked up by Sofia Garcia, who steps in with a joint lock she learned teaching under cartel threats in Mexico. The second gets a sharp elbow, Lucy's elbow. A perfect strike, just like Grandpa taught her. She's 3 steps from safety when a third man tackles her. Outside, Daniel Matthews approaches the school entrance like a storm in slow motion. Sheriff Parker draws his weapon. "Don't," Daniel warns. Parker hesitates. "One last chance, Steve." "Pick a side." In a blink, Daniel twists Parker's wrist, gun flying, bones shifting at unnatural angles. "Thank you for choosing," Daniel says, and means it. Inside, chaos reigns. George Sullivan's voice cracks through earpieces. "Lost visual. Smoke's too thick. Hostiles are converging." From her office, Carmen Santos watches her husband's plan unfold. Her DEA panic button pulses red. Message sent. But she knows help won't come in time. The fake FBI agent drags Lucy toward a side exit. She fights dirty. Knees, throat, eyes. Makes him earn every inch. "You've been trained well," he grunts. "You have no idea," she fires back, launching a heel strike. The exit door explodes open. Bear stands in the frame. Not a rancher now, not anymore. The agent fires, misses. Bear moves, all precision and purpose. He drops one, but 3 more flood in. He has to fall back, or fall forever. Rachel's voice cuts in. Triage active. Multiple injuries. Nothing fatal, yet. Daniel enters through the haze. He doesn't walk, he flows. 2 enemies drop before they know he's there. A third fires, hits air. Daniel's movements are beyond human. The ghost has returned. Sofia Garcia leads students through hidden passages, just like Daniel mapped. They find stashed weapons exactly where he promised. She holds the line. Lucy, still struggling, sees Daniel through the smoke. Their eyes meet. A door slams between them. "Dad," she whispers, before she can stop herself. Not Grandpa anymore. Daniel hears it, feels it. Then 4 cartel soldiers step into his path. The first crumples, knee shattered. The second never sees the punch that ends him. The third's collarbone snaps like dry wood. The fourth stabs, only to lose the knife in his arm in 3 distinct breaks. But more come, always more. Adrian Santos enters, flanked by guards, calm. Carmen trails behind, hand brushing her concealed DEA badge. Is now the moment to act? Quite a display, Mr. Matthews, Santos says. But pointless. Daniel's voice slices through the smoke. Last chance to walk away. Santos steps forward. This was never about your land. It's about a message for those who resist progress. Lucy is dragged back into view. Daniel's fists clench. You've made a mistake. Santos smiles. Thinking an old man could stop us? Daniel taps his wrist, twice. Lucy sees it. Their signal. She stomps her captor's foot, drops low, and flashbang, pulled from Rachel's supplies. It detonates. Light, chaos, screams. Lucy runs, not randomly, toward the rally point, just like they practiced. Package en route to Echo Point, Rachel confirms. Cover in place, Bear replies. Cameras back online, George chimes in. 20+ hostiles in pursuit. Daniel doesn't move. Smoke swirls around him. Santos's men circle. Lucy's escape depends on what happens next. Take him, Santos orders. Daniel raises his hands. I won't be the one taken today. Then it happens. The ghost fully awakens. Cartel men fall in waves. Space distorts. Shadows twist. Veterans crumble under invisible strikes. Hands move faster than thought. Bones snap before guns rise. Stories will be whispered about this day. Lucy doesn't look back. Her grandfather's violence clears the path. She reaches Rachel's checkpoint, almost free, when... Stop, or the teacher dies. Adrian Santos, gun to Sofia Garcia's head, her hands raised, still shielding her students. Lucy stops, looks to her grandfather, thinks of her mother, then she chooses to be Daniel Matthews' granddaughter. Before she can move, a needle pierces her neck. Daniel hears her fall, through his earpiece, through his heart. The real war hasn't even begun. Smoke curls from shattered windows as sirens scream through the distance. Inside the gym, Rachel treats dazed students, her CIA medical background in full gear. Every injury is logged, every word is intel. In a hallway lined with broken men, Daniel Matthews stands motionless. None are dead. He's too precise for that, but none will rise soon. He doesn't rage, he calculates. We've got a trail, Bear says over comms. 3 vehicles. Black Suburban in front, headed south, Route 23. George has drone coverage. Daniel's reply cuts the air cold. Santos slipped out. And this time, Daniel Matthews is going to finish it. The war didn't end in Ciudad Juarez. It evolved. 3 weeks after Lucy's rescue, surveillance returns. A dark sedan appears in Willow Creek. Lucy's training kicks in. No panic, no change in behavior, just quiet observation. Grandpa sees it too. They're testing boundaries, Lucy reports. Through secure channels, Bear confirms 3 recon teams keeping distance. The Gulf Cartel is moving in, exploiting the power vacuum left by Santos. Sheriff Parker, now changed by the battle, leads a transformed police department. Every deputy is trained to detect cartel signs. Sarah, his daughter, helps lead the reform. Rachel's medical network sees injured cartel scouts appear in hospitals, each one a lesson learned the hard way. Meanwhile, Lucy's training deepens. Daniel brings in specialists. Bear teaches tactics. Rachel handles trauma. George oversees digital security. Sophia builds community resistance through education. Lucy's becoming more than a survivor. She's becoming a protector. Carmen Santos, now fully aligned with the DEA, reports cartel leaders are calling it the Matthews Protocol. It's spreading. Cartels begin adopting new strategies, replacing violence with caution, brute force with psychological warfare. They're studying Willow Creek, not to conquer it, but to understand it. But Daniel knows. Sometimes the threat of response is more powerful than the response itself. As Lucy's tactical awareness grows, So does her understanding of strategy. They're not just defending a farm anymore. They're shaping how criminal threats evolve. Then comes the corporate infiltration. Cartels arrive in suits. They bring clean business proposals, development plans, investment projects. It's not an invasion. It's a negotiation cloaked in legitimacy. Lucy spots it immediately. Shell companies, offshore accounts, disguised cartel money. They're trying to own the town through law instead of fear. They're predators in suits, she says. Daniel agrees. The battlefield has changed. The team adapts. Bear studies corporate security. George counters espionage with counter-intel. Rachel analyzes stress in cartel structures. Sophia teaches students to spot infiltration behind community programs. Lucy's generation now faces systemic infiltration, cartels offering real services becoming too useful to reject. Why not let them in legally? Lucy asks. Daniel responds, because shadows don't change their nature, just their appearance. DEA confirms, cartels worldwide are watching. Willow Creek is now a case study in failure and resistance. Then, a cyber attack strikes. Cartel hackers launch precision digital assaults, targeting banks, schools, city infrastructure. But George counters every move. Lucy sees through the chaos. The cyber attack is a diversion, meant to map defense systems while cartel businesses acquire properties behind the scenes. They're not just fighting for territory, Lucy realizes. They want to become the territory. The countermeasure? Expose nothing. Let them burn resources. Every attempt teaches them why Willow Creek is untouchable. Federal agencies step in, DEA, FBI, NSA, all using the Matthews team's data. Ghost Protocol becomes national doctrine. Sarah graduates from the police academy, taking what she learned from Lucy and her father into modern law enforcement. Rachel's medical network expands across states. Sophia's resistance model becomes a national educational framework. And Lucy? She stands at the center of a growing legacy, tactical, digital, institutional. Her training now includes financial warfare, infrastructure defense, and social resilience. Marco Vega and Antonio Reyes, the cartel leaders, return with clean records and polished pitches. They're investing in agriculture, technology, education. But Willow Creek sees through it. The bank board rejects their proposals. No arrests. No firefights. Just a firm refusal and a silent warning. We see you. The cartels back off, quietly. But they're evolving, professionalizing, calculating, and still losing. Because the Matthews team forced them to change. Now, Willow Creek is a symbol, a legend, a place where shadows were taught boundaries, a town where violence was replaced by strategy and where predators learned fear. Lucy watches another sunset. We're not just protecting land anymore, she says. We're protecting the future, Daniel nods. That's why they'll never win.